Hi guys, welcome to the story of my biggest commission ever. This is over 2 meters tall, more than a week of work went into it, and dozens of people were involved in the project it was for. So back in 2015 in Bristol, England, a lady called Lucy started a project called Window Wonderland. The idea was to turn communities into nighttime art galleries and foster a feeling of connection by decorating the windows and leaving lights on behind them. That's what inspired the Leave a Light On project that I'm going to share with you now. I follow the Dunamace Art Centre Instagram and I kept seeing this open submission being advertised in their stories. I only scraped my submission in at the last second and sent this pretty panicky email off to the organiser about half an hour before the midnight deadline. I sincerely hope that I'm not too late. Okay, that might not sound too panicky, but I was freaking out. I was relieved to receive this message about 2 minutes later. Not too late at all. We'll let you know next week if your application has been successful. Best wishes, Caroline. Remember her name, she's the organiser. Hopefully this section will be helpful if you're ever entering something or working to a brief. In the submission form, they listed all the businesses who were taking part and all the windows that were available to choose from. I was designing them digitally, so the first thing I always made sure to do was make the canvas fit the proportions of the window I had in mind. The one for Nook and Cranny takes inspiration from the lights against the blue facade and the greens and yellows in the shop front and the overall cosy and eccentric feeling the shop gives off. Fun fact, this shop was winner of a National Gift Store of the Year 2019, and I can see why. You should definitely pop in if you're ever in the area. It's very pretty. The general theme was joy, or what makes us joyful. So that first design, I was just trying to capture the feeling of joy in a single image. But I was not just going to make one design. You got to give yourself the best chance possible, especially if the thing you're entering doesn't have a single design or an entry limit and you have the time. Also, it is rarely the first thing you create that is the best. So many people say this and it can get a bit annoying, but it was very true in this case. It lets you find more ideas. The next thing I thought was, what makes me happy? Well, art. I also wanted to make them winter related. It's happening at this time of year because of the evenings getting dark, and that can be miserable. So I didn't want to remind everyone of the summer they just lost. I probably well overthought that, but anyway. They're all either in winter clothes or cozy indoors. Do you think that either of those were chosen? Nope. And I think the problem was that I wasn't thinking about the final medium enough. With this next one, I was thinking more in terms of a stained glass window, using the black as an outline for the colours in between. So, when I received this same email, I'm delighted to inform you that your design has been selected. Not only was I extremely excited, oh my goodness, that's extremely exciting, but the choice made perfect sense to me. Of course, there were some bugs in the design to iron out. A lot of people, couldn't thought this was the face and she had green hair or something, but, this makes very little sense as a face. Caroline, the organiser, also said that when she saw it, she could just imagine how cosy and warm it would look down the end of Main Street. Though she found it a bit tricky to choose between that one and this other design of people on a walk at the Rock of Dunamace. You know, the art centre's namesake. So, armed with art supplies, staggering back home, all I had left to do was make it. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, which is you. By watching the full video, you're telling the YouTube algorithm that it is worth showing other people. And by liking, subscribing and sharing my video with a friend, you show me that I should keep making these videos. If you want to support me, commissions are open and I have some original Irish landscape paintings for sale. Check the description for details. Back to the regular programme. Don't do what I did. Do what Susan from Corner Store Cross did. So I messaged her to see if she had any tips and she basically cut my work in half with this list that will really help you. First, pick colours that contrast with each other. That way it will make the image pop. I love her beautiful complementary colour scheme. It feels really solid and it's really good. Then she says make the background a bright colour and the subject or characters darker colours. That way the bright background will make the characters pop out of the image while lit up. When gluing the pieces on, make sure you're applying the glue to the wax paper. You're pressing down evenly to avoid scrunches or folds. Oh, by the way, it was like we had a canvas. It was a huge sheet of sort of, baking paper. No, it was like tracing paper, but huge sheets of it. And then you would glue all the crepe paper and all the black paper to that. So then you could make it all at home and roll it up and just bring it and stick it onto the window. And then choose characters that have large surface areas, which will make them easier to cut, trace and draw. That was a problem that I had. I made my design quite complicated with a lot of little bits to cut out, and even like details on the fireplace. I ended up leaving out a good few of those details, but it still would have been beneficial for me to simplify a little bit more. It was actually a lot of fun the way I ended up doing it. I took the little bits of black paper and I just sat there cutting stuff out. It's much more organic for me to just sort of create something as I go along. So when I was making the girl's face, like I'd cut out a little bit of black and then use scraps that were left over and sort of figure out how the shapes would work with it.
Do what Mary Slevin from Mary Slevin the artist did. Her window was really pretty, and she said, I really enjoyed the process of creating the window. Looking back on it now, I struggled in the beginning to find my starting point. But when I created a step-by-step plan, a good drawing measuring my windows and checking I had enough materials, everything fell into place.
And do what Susie from MeganWhiteArt did. I'm so glad that I didn't have to battle her for the tax assist window. She would have won, because she said that she considered requesting the tax assist window for a different piece, but she was so sweet. She said she was glad that I'd chosen it. She didn't try to add too many elements like me. She just used the negative space very cleverly. Like, there's literally no colour in this, but it feels complex and figurative. So here's what she had to say. When I stumbled upon the Leave a Light On brief, I felt inspired and motivated to make something joyful. So I went to my studio notebooks for inspiration and found some drawings with which I could work. The top and bottom of the artwork at the Old Fort started out as two separate drawings from different notebooks. I wanted the finished piece to appear simple so that the viewers could interpret them however they chose. The decision to keep the piece as a black silhouette freed me to concentrate on line. Actually, I think I really would have enjoyed that. Because I did start to really enjoy how, like, cutting out the different pieces. So she also thought that this tip would be especially useful for you guys. I think time is a big factor. If there's a finite amount of time available to deliver a piece, adapt expectations for yourself to the timeline. Also, thinking of initial drawings as suggestions is helpful. Embrace happy accidents. Which I think leads perfectly into the series of accidents, which was my experience of creating this piece. So I started on the 6th, reasonable, considering the thing had to be up by the 23rd, actually the 22nd, because I'd be visiting family in England for the entire time the thing was going to be up. Anyway, I didn't work on it again until the following Tuesday, the 12th. And I wake up Wednesday morning and my legs feel like jelly. It feels like I'd cycle the Tour de France. Those poor legs are not used to things like squats and exercise. And I'd slept until 8. That is late in my household. Call us crazy if you like. I like waking up early. So with only a week left and horrifyingly little done, I had to blitz that thing. And motivation was looking like this. I needed encouragement, I needed motivation, I needed my cheerleading squad of Instagram followers. Well, that makes me feel just wonderful. Don't worry, my mum said that. Everyone else was lovely, thanks so much. So, with that power up, she worked tirelessly Thursday and missed Friday. So, side note, seeing progress shots of Suzanne's work, I really hope I'm saying that right, so sorry if not, on the Leave a Light On page, I started to feel like my colours were looking very childish. Hers were so good. And while my design had looked nice, it wasn't quite translating with the crepe colours that were available. So I ripped off all the blue that I'd already glued down. And the more limited orange, pink and green was much nicer. That's something really important. Actually, you have to trust your instincts if something doesn't look right. My mum and dad were going like, are you sure about this, Megan? When they saw me like tearing up my artwork. I also tore off some of the yellow. But yeah, no, it ended up so much better. It got back to the grind. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Oh, wait, yeah. Tuesday's when we went hanging it up. So, it's so close. As in, no, actually, I don't mean so close. It's actually finished now. The whole thing is done. It's absolutely humongous. Like, and we're gonna go hang it up now. So I dropped it by the business a couple weeks before, just so that they would know my face when I showed up to block all the light out of their business with my huge honking window display. Mum came to help, and so did Caroline. Sorry. To be honest, they did most of the hanging. I stood there helping, like a lemon in shabby paint trousers. We could only use tape to hang it up, so it was difficult, but it managed to hang in there till the end of the week when it fell. Here it is. This is Port Arlington Library, and if I walk around the corner, boom, here it is. And I've got QR codes to my different socials and stuff, and it'll probably look much better at night, but we drove up here in the day, so it's a pretty good spot.